yoga strap, definitely going to want that. As always, just in case, for anything else, I have my yoga block, and I have my yoga or lacrosse ball or tennis ball or something like that. Can we see me? Yes, right. So I'm going to start in this half kneeling position. I'm going to get right to it. A lot of us are sitting at our desk and we have really tight hip flexors, and it's just something that we just are dealing with. Even if we're not sitting at their desk, we just have tight hip flexors. We're kind of, even throughout their day, kind of always hunching over and shortening all the front muscles of our body. And we really want to try and open up and lengthen that, but we're going to do it a little bit different than we have been doing in the past. So I want us to, have our one foot up, forward, other foot back. And what we're going to do is we're not moving forward or distracting. We're just going to work on this back glute and hamstring and just focus on our breath to kind of help us get there. So our back glute, we really want to make sure everything's facing forward. We're going to, you can rest forward, that's fine, on your front leg. What we're really going to do is just try to squeeze our back glute muscle forward until it cannot go forward anymore. Again, I am not looking to extend this long and put any pressure in that front leg. I'm really just relaxing here. You can relax on your block. And I'm just going to push that front glute and squeeze it as hard as I can, lengthening that hip flexor. So we're not really going anywhere here. You should feel it if you are pressing your glute and hamstring as the end muscle as it can, pushing it to its end, its end, what do I want to say? Range of motion, there we go. And I'm just going to hold it here and keep holding it. So hopefully we're there, and we're going to take some deep breaths. 10 deep breaths, all right? So if you took some extra, that's okay. Keep making sure that you're staying engaged here. Breathing deep through that abdominal. Keep the glutes squeezed. I know it's hard to hold that position. But we're really just trying to focus on that back hip. 3 more breaths. And last breath, and then we're going to easily and gently come on up. I want you to just reset both hips at the same spot. You should feel that you're starting to get loose in the hip here a little bit more. And that's great. We're going to do the same thing on the reverse side. I will switch sides and I'm on. So the opposite foot goes forward, the back leg, and again, as always, we're going to make sure for balance that we have our front foot in line with our, our hip, and our back foot again is aligned with our hip, so we're not having things in one tight rope. We want to make sure that we have something balanced, setting ourselves up for success. So the back hip, again, I'm going to just lean on my arm here, and I'm just going to press my hip, my glute, squeeze it as hard as I can, pressing that hip forward, and we're going to take 10 deep breaths here. Through that belly first. Keep that glute squeezed. To kind of help get into the end range of motion for this hip flexor, we need to engage the opposite muscles to kind of help press our body into those end range motions. So keep squeezing that hamstring, keep squeezing that glute until you're at the, at the top position as you can get. And we're just resting here. more breaths. Squeeze the glute, 2 more. Last one. And relax. Nice. So hopefully you felt a little bit different than maybe we have done before. Maybe you felt like you really got into that hip flexor. We're gonna try it again, and this is another variation, or just even to try and get a little bit deeper. We're gonna use, you can use the wall for stability. We're gonna use the leg closest to the wall, forward, and we're gonna straddle or split our stance, again, in line with our hips so we have balance. And we're going to drop this back hip, or again, we're going to focus on that back glute, squeezing it forwards. We're on this toe, and we can drop it down just a little bit here. And I want us, so first you want to make sure that you're squeezing that glute. We're in this top range position. We're pressing this leg, forward. My thigh is behind my hip flexor. Maybe I need to, straddle my foot a little bit longer. And then we're gonna come up on our front toe, and we're gonna get deeper into that hip flexor stretch. So we're fine here. Glutes are squeezed, come up onto that toe and hold. So this is where that balance against the wall or some other object. And we're taking 10 breaths. We're really using our glute muscles, squeezing our glute muscles. Maybe we're engaging these quads muscles as well to kind of hold us with our balance. And we're just taking deep breaths, really working and focusing on those muscles. Keep on that front toe to kind of help get deep. We don't have to drop really low. We want to kind of keep that back leg long. Opening up, keep it engaged. One more breath. And come on out nice and gently. Same thing, other side. So hopefully you felt that. If not, play around a little bit until you feel it into that hip flexor by trying to, maybe go a little bit wider with your feet, or maybe coming in. Or again, we're shifting our weight forward. I'm squeezing my glute as much as I can, pressing that force forward. So as if I was at my highest jumping position, I used all that force of my back hamstring and glute to help get me jump as high as I can. So we're using all that force of that muscle. You can drop down a little bit lower if you want, and that knee, kind of keep it soft, or you can keep it raised. I'm just going to come forward on my high toe. So I'm going to, for me, I need to drop a little bit lower here, coming forward on that front toe a little bit more, and I can get deeper into the stretch. And all you're doing is focusing on keeping those muscles as you take deep breaths. So hopefully we're there. Breathing through, opening up our lower abdomen. First, we're breathing through that belly, and then we're expanding the rib cage. Keep the muscles engaged. We want everything tight. Pressing, pressing, pressing. Not our hamstring as much. Hamstring, tight, glute, tight. Keep breathing. A few more breaths. And come on out nice and gently. All right. Feel it. Maybe we need to do a couple knee circles. Coming on up, with our knee and out. Same thing other way. Just feel how much more open that you are here. We're going to continue with our front of our hips and our hamstrings and our hip flexors by getting back into our original position. This time we're going to bring our hands to the inside of our foot. And again, the same kind of thing goes here. We're bringing that glute forward of our back hip. But now we're just going to work on not just that one specific area, but we're going to distract side to side. So your hands can go wider, they can go longer. And we're just going to kind of get, sometimes we're tighter in this IT band around our hip. And we're going to get into some of these other areas in this back hip flexor. So, working on going side to side. And it could just be simply, even if you don't move your hands, so our glutes squeeze forward, could simply just be rotating that chest. All right? So we're just gonna do that for a few times. So if you're with me, squeeze that back glute to it's at its end point. And then we're just going to rotate our hips a little bit here. For me, I can feel it and knead it this way. So we're only going to rotate kind of into a position and out nice and gently. Keeping the back glutes engaged. And switch sides. So taking those deep breaths still into each of these positions. For me, I like to turn inside. Some of you might need to turn out, but we just want to make sure that we're keeping the balance of our feet and our hips, and we're squeezing the back glutes to kind of open up that back hip. This is something to keep in mind through any of our movements. If you need to, this is why we have our blocks or our foam roller, whatever you need to kind of help prop you up. You can use that if you're not able to get that deep into any of these positions. Kind of come this way, so maybe you can see a little differently. I'm just rotating. When I do this, I'm dropping that back hip more to the left as I turn right, but I'm still engaging and focusing on that back glute and hamstring, pressing or using it as hard as I can, at its end force and range of motion. And just breathing through as I do this. All right, coming on out nice and gently. We're going to finish going around the hips, but before, we're actually going to do the opposite side than what we were just doing. So take a minute, sit with your feet out in front of you if you want, or cross-legged if you want. I'll explain the next one, and then you can kind of help get into the position as well. So this is where a yoga strap is going to come into play. If you don't have a yoga strap or a hand towel or something where you can kind of help grab around your feet or your behind your thighs, you can use your interlaced fingers behind your hamstring, on your hamstring, behind your thigh. That's okay, but I would prefer for some of the other movements that we get into that you use a strap. We're going to lay onto our back here. We're going to keep one leg down. So one leg down, the other leg that we're going to work on is here. So our leg down, we're going to press through our heel, keep our glute or our quads engaged, kind of keep it pressing forward as if we were standing up nice and tall. And then we're going to work this bent leg. So I'm putting the strap, or whatever you're using, behind the leg. And we're going to first, to kind of help get into a specific part of the hamstring and not behind the knee, we're going to first bring that knee or that hip, closing that hip angle, bringing that knee forward, and then we're going to flex the toes towards the face and extend the heel towards the sky and back down. So the more you flex with the toe, you might feel it in the calf. We want to feel it behind the hamstring. So don't go too hard here. We're just working on trying to get to the end range of motion of our hamstrings. So again, distract your leg forward and then extend out. Okay, so the more we distract, we're going to use our quad muscles. This is where we want to, like I spoke about before, use the opposite muscles to kind of help press what we are looking to stretch into that end range motion. We have our hands or our strap to kind of help distract, to help kind of keep that pressure of where we want to, work. So we're gonna go for 10 leg straights. Or straighten legs, I don't know. So bring your leg to wherever you can kind of comfortably bring it, holding it against our hands and pressing into those hands or into that strap, and then back down. Good, do it again. Press into the back of those hands and back down. Straighten that leg, press, use that quad muscle as much as you can. This is really what's going to help us. We need to have strength, lengthen the leg again. We need to have strength in these muscles, these opposite muscles, to kind of help improve any of our movement. So this is kind of like going from squatting all the way to standing. We need to be able to use some of these muscles, to kind of help us stand. So squeezing the glute or quads, press, and back down. I think that was 5 or 6, my bad, I forgot to count. Again, extend, and if you're feeling it behind the knee or anything, pull that knee in first before you extend, and it's okay if that leg doesn't exactly straighten. We're just holding it for about 2 seconds, and then we're pulling it back down. Last one, I think. I'm sorry, it's not going to be even each side, which I like to do. And then we're going to switch. So good thing we did our hip flexors first, because you might be feeling like you're using them or it's getting tight there. But don't worry, you can always kind of re-stretch. We're kind of getting all different sides. If you have any lower back pain, it might be because your hamstrings are so tight. So we're going to do the other side. Knee in, straighten the leg, and relax. Good, we're holding for about 2 seconds. Straighten the leg. Engaging those quad muscles, kind of press against those hands, straighten the leg. 3, we'll count on this side. 4, you got this. It's okay if it doesn't straighten completely. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. All right. Coming on up, using your strap or your towel or whatever you have, we're going to put it at the top of our foot or around our foot, and we're going to do a similar or same thing by engaging the hamstring or the quads, pressing our legs forward, and then so we're laying back, pressing, engaging our hamstrings or quads forward, and then our toes kind of come to our face, and our heel goes to the sky. We don't want to press it too hard or use our arms too much. We want to relax the head and the neck, relax the shoulders. We're just gently pulling it back and working on the lower leg. So the more we kind of use our toe to our face, the more you're going to feel in your calf. The more you use your hamstring and just press that foot to the sky as you gently pull it back, the more you'll feel it in that whole hamstring. It really is about using that quad muscle. And we're just taking deep breaths, and we're going to hold to find your end range of motion where your leg is straight, your other leg is nice and long. Using that quad muscle, lengthen the leg, and take deep breaths. Holding, and relax. Switch sides. I'm just going to get in there nice and easy. If you have another way to get in, squeezing that quad, bringing that leg forward, and gently using that strap to kind of keep it nice and long. If you want to, you don't have to keep it on that foot. You can keep it here. We're just working on a little bit different by keeping that lever long before we pull it. So before we kept knee forward and then lengthen to really isolate the back of the hamstring. Now we're just getting that entire back of the leg, and we're just going to hold here and breathe. Deep breaths. Keep engaging the quad muscles. I keep forgetting myself. Got a little leg shake going on. And we're going to relax. Leg down. Sit up nice and easy. Maybe roll to the side before you press yourself up. We're going to do one more time with the hamstring. One more stretch, since I think we did about 3 hip flexor stretches. We're going to do one hamstring stretch, and you can use any object. So you can stand, you can elevate your foot, kind of like on here. You can use your leg up, and you can stand up tall, or you can just use the ground. I'm going to use the ground to kind of help show you what I mean by some of these movements. So I'm in this half kneeling position. I'm going to extend that leg long, and I'm going to make sure that I'm squaring my hips forward. So you can use the wall. If you get close, you can use table, chair, your yoga block, whatever you want to kind of help with balance. And what we're going to do is, as we get here, we really want to make sure that we're pulling that same, so I have my right foot forward, my right hip pulled back, so nice and actually square to the front. And we're just working on kind of rotating through the different areas of the body. So I like to straddle the foot forward, and I'm just rotating again like we did with the hip flexor, rotating that chest. We're just kind of exploring here different areas of the hamstring that we might feel. My toes are still to the sky, even when I rotate, they're not going with me. So kind of explore the different areas of your hamstrings that you might have some tightness just by rotating that upper body. All right, keep that hip pulled back. And gently come on out. Same thing, other side. Again, like I said, you can elevate your foot on a surface. This might be easier for some of you. So I have like my block. You can use a pillow, you can use a bench, you can stand. If you're standing and it's not too tall, you just, say you have an object like this height, you can bend into that back knee and reach forward, and then you're just kind of exploring that hamstring, that area, okay? So much dog hair, sorry. All right, so I'm going to use this yoga block to kind of help elevate. I'm using my stand as some balance, lengthening that spine, bending over, and then I'm going to explore, just rotating my chest. Look, again, my chest exploration is a little bit different than it was the first time, and I prefer an elevated surface. I'm just going to rotate left and right, keeping it down, my chest down, and you can feel outside hamstring, inside hamstring, you know, middle hamstring. We have 3 muscles back there to kind of work on our hamstring. So feel or notice how you're feeling. Just explore here. Take some deep breaths before you start doing anything again. We don't want to do anything for too long or hold these positions for too long, but it is important to kind of get into those motions. You're welcome to do any of these again and to explore what feels good for your body. I'm just going to come down closer so you can see me. But hopefully you guys enjoyed today. It was a little bit different than normal. We kind of focused very specifically on 2 different areas of the body.